All right, everybody, welcome to episode number 66 of the Below the Yellow Line podcast. This afternoon, I'm your host, Joe Landy Pavlon. Alongside with me is Justin Hebert for today's podcast. I know we started a little early, but I think it's just for one more week. We'll be back to schedule.
Yeah.
For the next score-around, the title says this was the grandest race weekend of 2020. Usually, when people say that, they tend to refer to Memorial Day weekend. But obviously, with the pandemic getting in the way, so with that said, this really made up for what everyone was looking forward to in May. But either way, we had so much racing to cover. NASCAR, IndyCar, double header at Indy, the Indy Grand Prix track in the Xfinity Series. The Brickyard 400 on the 4th of July. Formula One at last is returning. If you're a race fan, unfortunately not in the stands, but at home watching, and this was the dream weekend. Let's just get started with the racing that we had over the weekend. We'll just kick it off to the NASCAR Cup Series with the Brickyard 400. And before the race even began, just 2 days prior, we learned that the first driver to test positive for COVID-19 was the driver everybody was looking forward to on the racetrack as it's his final season. Jimmie Johnson, 7-time champion, missed his first race missed the first race without Jimmie Johnson was ran for the first time since November, Thanksgiving weekend in 2001 at New Hampshire. And unfortunately, Jimmy, we all hope you get well. But the 7-time champion was tested positive. He is currently asymptomatic. Has stated to be in a very, very scary, position right now because obviously he can't be close to his family, but he has to stay away from everyone. And as a father, of course, that's not, I'm sure that really puts a toll on the emotional side. Everyone is going through this. So as a result, Rick Hendrick tapped Junior Motorsports veteran driver Justin Allgaier to pilot the 48 car.
Because they needed a driver to drive, obviously, the car. And people are saying Noah Gragson, but the thing about Noah Gragson, he has no Cup experience. Allgaier driven 2 full seasons in the Cup Series. So he has experience in a Cup car, so they tapped Justin Allgaier because he was at the racetrack. He was at the racetrack too during the weekend, so that's how they tapped him to drive the car.
So Kevin Harvick, who won this race in 2003 for Richard Childress, similar to how Dale Earnhardt won in 1995. Won again last year for Stewart Haas Racing, and again for the same team this year. In 2020, Kevin Harvick, he's 45, right?
44.
44, almost 45. And is driving like someone in his 20s. Like Kyle Busch, this is a driver who's been in his prime since the very get-go of his career. Harvick led 60 laps, won Stage 2, started 11th for his 53rd career win. He hit the 50 mark this year and now has one more win to get to Lee Petty.
Lee Petty in front. Then you have Rusty Wallace with 55 and then Kyle Busch with 56. They're getting close. Harvick's closing on those milestone numbers. He's getting up there.
And with that said, this was a race for the veterans. Second place, Matt Kenseth, in his best finish since that moving victory he had at Phoenix, when he confirmed that 2018 might be the first year without me since 1999. And that's what Kenseth stated at Texas, like, okay, I'm pulling out of NASCAR and possibly retiring, but my doors are open. He won that race at Phoenix, and then shortly after left without a ride. Eventually drove for Roush as a replacement driver for Trevor Bayne, and without a ride once again in 2019. Now here he is in Ganassi equipment. He led 12 laps, started 21st and finished second. This is his second top 10 in that car. The other came at Darlington, the first race back since the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And this actually, Indianapolis is only one of the few crown jewel events that Kenseth has still yet to win.
Yeah.
He's won 2 Daytona 500s, obviously a championship, back in 2003. The Coke 600 was his first career win in 2000. Kenseth won the Southern 500 and the Talladega 500. So all that's left is just this one. Brickyard. Eric Almirola finished third. Brad Keselowski won in 2018. Best finish for all the new track-owned cars. Yes, Roger Penske owns the racetrack. First race under the Penske banner for the facility. Keselowski finished fourth. Cole Custer, career best finish of fifth. First top 5 in his career. Started back in 30th. Kyle Busch with a solid 6th. Michael McDowell, 7th place. Yeah. He started 20 positions behind there in 27th. Tyler Reddick finished 8th. Bubba Wallace, 9th. And Joey Logano, who started on the pole, led 14 laps, came home 10th. Outside the top 10, Chase Elliott finished 11th after leading 26 laps from 10th off the grid. Remember, qualifying was a draw, like it has been for the pretty much every race since the go-around with the pandemic and all that. Austin Dillon, who was involved in a last lap shunt, was set to finish in the top 10, but he's going to have to settle for 18th. He led 5 laps, a very strong car. Impressed me yesterday. Unfortunate for William Byron. I thought he had a chance to win the race after winning stage 1 and leading 15 laps, but a blown tire results in a 27th place finish, many laps behind the leader. Denny Hamlin retired with 5 laps to go after leading 19 laps from 6 off the grid. Boy, that was a scary impact. We're going to get into tires in a little bit after I just read down these results. Alex Bowman started 3rd, finished 30th, and retired from the race, as well as Ryan Blaney. Now, Blaney was involved in an incident, not really like a tire failure. 32nd for him. Justin Allgaier, the driver who piloted Jimmy Johnson's 48 car for Hendrick Motorsports, finished 37th after an incident on pit road, which resulted to a terminal failure later on in the race. And Martin Truex Jr., who had a miserable start, finished 38th, 30 positions behind his starting spot, which was 8th. So with that said, I actually listed down the playoff standings because we are getting towards that portion of the season, obviously pending NASCAR's fall portion of the season, the latter half of 2020. What that looks like will depend on when the playoffs will take place, but here's what it would look like now. Kevin Harvick, obviously, so the locked-in drivers, Kevin Harvick has 4 wins, 637 points. Chase Elliott with 1 win and 552 points. And looking down the list, Brad Keselowski with 2 wins. Ryan Blaney with a win. Denny Hamlin has 4 victories, 528 points. So, yeah, Harvick's really walking away with the points lead. That's for the regular season. Joey Logano, 2 wins. And then the last 2 spots in the locked-in drivers are 8 total. Martin Truex Jr. and Alex Bowman. So 471 points compared to 637 between Bowman and Kevin Harvick. Now, here are the drivers that are pretty safe in the in the no wins list. Obviously, once the remaining schedule comes out, later on we'll know who's possibly locked in or not, because obviously there's no one officially locked in until the end of the regular season is in sight.
Yeah.
Eric Almirola plus 105 from the cut line. Kyle Busch plus 101. Kurt Busch plus 97. Matt DiBenedetto plus 53. Clint Boyer plus 50. And then the last three spots, William Byron plus 32. Jimmy Johnson, who sat out Sunday's race, and depending on 2 consecutive COVID-19 tests, which is mandated, will depend on his return being approved.
Yeah.
Johnson's plus 30, and Austin Dillon, of course, he's got plus and minus 0 on the cut line. 360 points is the target. You need to reach 360 points so far. So outside the cut line, I have 17th through 20th listed. Minus 6 is Eric Jones. Minus 16, Tyler Reddick. Minus 42, Bubba Wallace. And minus 46 is Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's just get back to the tires.
Yeah.
Why this race? Why was this race harsh on tires?
One reason about the, tires, one reason about those tires, there's a couple of things about it. One, the hot temperatures. It was hot yesterday. It was humid, which didn't help the tires. Two, the surface. It's getting older, but it's also the summer conditions. Because the Brickyard, they never raced on July 4th. They always raced, during the July.
Around later July.
And then the last 2 years they raced in September. But racing early July with the hotter temperatures.
Right.
No. Also, Goodyear said some of their tires, they brought a new tire, I guess. It could have been the cause, because after
what about practice?
But the practice,
you can't really test how much the tires will last.
Yeah, after 30 laps, the tires would do that. Remember Eric Jones? He had we ran 30 laps, Eric Jones crashed, and then you saw Blaney spin. After that, about 35 laps later, after Eric Jones crashed, Alex Bowman crashes in the wall, and Hamlin, which he had older tires by 10 laps, so after 20 extra laps on those tires, Hamlin had his blowout. Yeah, the tires wouldn't after 30 laps, it couldn't last long, and drivers would hit the wall extremely hard, like Eric Jones. When he hit the wall, his car caught on fire. Bowman did not.
Horrible hit.
Bowman, when he crashed, he didn't catch on fire, but there was some.
Whenever a tire blows in the middle of a corner,
people
you have
said
immediate loss of control.
People thought they were all in the same corner. 2 of them were in the same corner. Alex Bowman and Denny Hamlin were in turn 1 and turn 2. Eric Jones was in turn 3 and turn 4. So 3 different blowouts that were hard. 1 of them in turn 3 and 4, while the one for Bowman and Hamlin was in turn 1 and 2. Which, when I saw Hamlin, I remember I was just looking, doing my normal reactions like always. I was just looking at my computer quickly, and I just saw Hamlin skate up in the wall. I'm like, oh my gosh. People say there's no hard impacts, but all those blown tires yesterday had a hard impact in the wall.
This is a fast track.
Yeah, you go fast.
They were one of the first to put safer barrier. One of the first tracks to include safer barriers in the outside wall.
Yeah. That was smart from Indianapolis Motor Speedway to do that, because they go fast into those corners, and then you got to get off the gas, get back on. But when every time that a driver hit the wall, it flattened the right side of the car. Was not like normal little dent. It was flattened. You could not even see the number anymore on the right side. It was because it was a really hard impact on the wall.
Yeah, and that's just, I think personally there's many issues with not having practice qualifying, and for some tracks you need to test the waters, see how much you can push in the corners, and I mean many people said, like including Kyle's, like I don't know how I'm doing without practice and qualifying, but it's not helping me. That's what he said in an interview. Kyle Busch, Adam Stevens, they work obviously. Practice and qualifying is very important, and racing or no racing, we're still racing, but without practice and qualifying, these drivers have to go with their guts.
Yeah, but like, do you know what's more interesting about hearing some of these people? You know, one thing that doesn't, you know, when William Byron, you know, there's no practice and stuff. Well, sometimes, you know, remember when William Byron sometimes says how the car is? Chad Knaus has not been in the shop since Phoenix. He's not been in the Hendrick shop since then, so like some crew chiefs have not been in the shop for a long time.
And some aren't even allowed.
Yeah, like Chad Knaus,
on building rules.
Yeah, like Chad Knaus has not been in the Hendrick Motorsports shop since Phoenix, before this pandemic came about. So basically right before the Phoenix weekend. That was the last time Chad Knaus went into the Hendrick Motorsports shop, which
I bet you they're teleconferencing though.
Yeah,
because you can see the effect. They're working really well together on the racetrack. I mean, there are many adjustments still that either you're reacting well to them or you're not. Speaking of the race, though, I have forgot to mention about a very scary situation on pit road that happened under the first competition caution when cars were braked. When I guess one of the cars misjudged the brakes. Corey LaJoy was involved. Martin Truex Jr., Justin Allgaier, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Ryan Preece were all involved.
Yep.
And unfortunately, one of the crew members from Ryan Blaney's car, Zachary Price, was hurt in the incident. And boy, he was still hurt and hit by the oncoming cars. However, the reflexes saved him.
Yeah, and also, right as he knew something was wrong, he dragged himself to the pit wall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and at that point, when you're down, you disregard any further injury. You're just darting to the pits. I'm so glad that he was released from the hospital last night.
Yeah, and I heard about what happened. Like, Penske, Todd Gordon announced that with a fractured knee, he fractured his knee pretty bad. Like, I'm glad that when he got on the stretcher, he was doing thumbs up and all that, which was a really good sign. Mm-hmm. That he was awake and alert, which is a really good thing.
Yeah. But it shows you how dangerous this sport really is. You can never undermine the jobs these people have, whether it's in the car or on pit road.
We've seen incidents happen a lot of times, including a couple of years ago at Pocono. Remember Gus Dean's brakes broke and hit his jackman? His jackman got injured. He went to the hospital with a neck brace on.
It was very, very scary.
Yeah.
Or Brad Keselowski a few years ago, actually 5 years ago at Pocono, which...
Oh, yeah.
It happens. But, you know, that's what you do when you race and you're a pit crew member. All right. So that was the Cup Series. Now, let's talk about some Grand Prix racing. Let's start with Xfinity, and then we'll get to IndyCar because we're still on this NASCAR page here. So the Xfinity Series made their debut at the Grand Prix track in Indianapolis for their 13th race of the season. Oh, by the way, for the Cup Series, round 14. Actually, their next race will be round 17 at Kentucky on Saturday night.
Saturday night, Sunday afternoon.
Sunday. We'll get into Kentucky later, but let's to Xfinity here. It was their 13th race of the calendar. Chase Briscoe, once again, you can't stop him if you tried. 5th win of the season, 7th win of his career. He won stage 2, started 12th, and led 30 laps.
which I just realized that was my pick. I picked Chase Briscoe. I remember because I remember the Roval. He won the first ever race there, so I'm like, oh, he'll maybe win the first ever race at the Indy road course, and then I saw highlights of who won. I saw Chase Briscoe. I'm like, oh, my pick won again.
Yeah, Chase Briscoe clearly put on a clinic near the second half of the race. Justin Haley managed to keep a clean car, avoid all that drama, and finish second. Third place, Noah Gragson, who started 8th.
Yeah.
Fourth was AJ Allmendinger, who I had as my prediction to win. He started 30th, led 2 laps, but finished 4th. Obviously, there were no qualifying sessions. They drew for a pole, but had 2 practice sessions. He was fastest in practice 1. But in free practice 2, it was Austin Cindric, who was the only driver in the 2 sessions to get a 129 in his laps. Cindric finished 5th, won stage 1, led 21 laps, started 10th.
Yeah.
He and Allmendinger kind of tangled, which allowed Briscoe to pull away and score the win.
Yeah, I remember. And before Briscoe won the race, he actually messed up turn 1 pretty badly. And that's how both of them got by him. And then he made a 3-wide move out of the final corner, coming towards 2 laps. Remember that move, that 3-wide move for the lead? And he actually, oh my gosh, when I saw that going to turn 1, I'm like, oh no, you're not going to make the corner. He made the corner. And he ended up winning, which Chase Briscoe is from Indiana. I know Tony Stewart must be proud of a Indiana driver winning, and then his Kevin Harvick, his Cup teammate, ended up winning on Sunday. So good. It was a good weekend for the Stewart. Yeah, Stewart Haas. They have a good Cup and Xfinity program right now.
Absolutely. Let's go down the list here. Justin Allgaier led 2 laps, started 5th, finished 7th. Alex Labbe finished 8th after starting 22nd. Michael Annett started 2nd, finished 9th. And 10th place was Preston Pardis, who got his career best finish, leading 2 laps and started 19th. Yeah, so well done for him.
Yep.
And then some other drivers. Brandon Godovic finished 12th.
Yep.
Career best finish, started 38th, last place.
Yep.
Not only best finish for Brandon Godovic himself, but for the
Sam
team
Hunt
Sam Hunt Racing.
Yep. Which Colin Garrett was not driving. I'm glad they put Brandon Godovic. He's good on the road courses. He's a road course driver.
He is also a sports car driver. He spent a lot of time racing in GT3s.
Yeah.
Jade Buford, speaking of sports car drivers, finished 14th, started 17th in his debut.
Yeah.
Driving for Bobby Daughter.
Yep. Good run for that 07 car.
Kyle Weatherman, another career best finish, second time that's happened in the last. Best finish for Mike Harmon, 4th time. Third
this year, Mike Harmon Racing has been, even not just the 47, the 74 sometimes, Bailey Curry finished 18th at Atlanta on the lead lap. There's some races that you don't expect a Mike Harmon car to run. At one point, Kyle Wetterman was in the top 10 at Pocono. Mike Harmon I don't know what it is, but I don't know what speed they have. They're sometimes in the top 15, which is, you're like, wow. Because they're not in the best equipment. They're lower. They're one of the lowest equipment-wise. But them getting a top 15.
But they also stay out of trouble.
Yeah, they don't. Bailey sometimes does not do better, but I've seen Bailey Curry race with no brakes at Darlington, which he lost the brakes on the first lap, ran the whole race with no brakes at Darlington, which you need brakes.
I don't know how anyone can do that. That must be crazy. Let's see on the list. Ryan Sieg finished 17th, started 4th in 2 laps. Finished 24th with Mike Wallace. Welcome back. Mike Wallace is now 61 years old, and he last raced when he was 55 in the 2015 Daytona 300. Started 14th. He's now driving for Johnny Davis. Harrison Burton finished 25th. Cousin Jeb finished 31st. Jeb Burton led a lap on the pole. He had a mechanical issue.
Yeah, he had the power steering issue, which That does not help at a road course when
Oh,
you need it to turn. When
mhm.
you, yeah, that doesn't help.
And then second to last place, retired
Oh,
early in the race was Brandon Jones, who led 2 laps from third
yeah.
off the starting grid.
He said he had brake issues and he caught on fire, so something was wrong in the car. And somebody said there's a mechanical failure. I think there is if he's on fire. Yeah, that was not a good weekend for Brandon Jones. Not that was out of his control. Him last weekend at Pocono, he crashed after contact with Austin Cindric, and now he's out. He was out again, so there's now he wants to rebound at Kentucky, which is there's 2 races at Kentucky for people that don't know. Thursday a 200 miler and Wednesday the normal 300-mile
Yeah,
race.
that's rounds 14 and 15 this weekend for Kentucky. But here's the full Xfinity standings, and I did include some drivers that have the chance to make the playoffs. So obviously for this series, it's 12 total that make the 6 race playoff.
Which there's some drivers. You see Hemrick is decent, but the thing is he can't make the playoffs because he's not full time.
Per request, actually. Let's see it down there. So Chase Briscoe pulls away in the points lead at 556 points over Noah Gragson. That's 535.
Yeah, it's close.
Chastain, third, 501. Austin Cindric is fourth. Very solid run at Indy. Yep. Justin Haley, fifth. Justin Allgaier jumps up a few spots back to 6th in points, 434 so far for him. Harrison Burton took a hit on Saturday.
Yeah, not the best.
So did Brandon Jones, his teammate.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Brandon Jones has had him and Harrison Burton last 2 weeks. No luck again. Hopefully we rebound at Kentucky now. Because Pocono could have been good, but both cars wrecked early because of oil. And then here, Brandon Jones has a mechanical failure, and Harrison Burns' car, I don't know,
he had a suspension issue. Let me see down that list. Michael Annett, 9th. He's been there pretty solid so far. 183 behind the leader. Ryan Sieg is 10th, minus 227. And then the final 2 spots, Riley Herbst, 11th, minus 258. And owner driver Brandon Brown is 12th, minus 271. Then outside the cut line, obviously 12 drivers make it in. Brandon Mike Snyder, 277 behind. Daniel Hemrick, depending on eligibility, minus 302. Alex LeBay, minus 303 from. I'm just comparing that off the leader here.
Yeah.
Jeremy Clements, Josh Williams, Jesse Little, Anthony Alfredo, and BJ McLeod, your top 20 points.
Which reason that Snyder's eligible that people don't know why. He's full time with 2 teams. When Alfredo's in the 21, Snyder's in the 93. But Rayon Brothers manages that number 93 now. So basically, the crew chief is still Jeff Green. But if Myatt's in the 21, which he's not this weekend, that's Alfredo's in the 21. So
Jeff will drive the 93 when Myatt's not in the car.
It's basically when Myatt's drives the not Penske, the Richard Childress number 21, basically. Not Penske.
I think you have a crystal ball somewhere. I'm just kidding.
No, Mike Snyder, he's not doing too bad. He's not running 30th every week. No, he's not. Yeah.
So we'll get more into Xfinity later. Yeah, what's up?
The thing, remember that early penalty that MBM Motorsports number 66 got after the, what happened, their L2 penalty, which they lost points? They're almost in the positives again. They're minus 1 point. They have minus 1 point. So they're only at 1 point. If they gain 1 point, they'll be at 0 points, and then they'll be in the positives. Remember that penalty they had at Daytona with the nose of the car that didn't look right? Timmy Hill drove that 66 car to a 3rd place.
He finished 3rd, yeah.
Yeah, they said the nose looked wrong, so they ejected crew members and gave them, I think, 100-point penalty, and they're recovering. They're at minus 1. So they'll be in the positives again, which is kind of nice, which is good for that MBN number 66.
So yeah, their next race is Kentucky. That'll be races 14 and 15.
Yep.
We'll get more into that later when we preview. But let's continue on with racing at the Indy Grand Prix with IndyCar. The GMR Grand Prix was round 2 of their 14 race championship.
Yeah.
And once again, the Kiwi, Scott Dixon, wins. You can't stop him. He's a 5-time champion.
But it's weird seeing the first time it's not Penske and it's not Pagenaud or Power winning. I'm like, wow, that's interesting. It's the first time that it's not Pagenaud or Power getting a win at the Indy Grand Prix.
Right. So let me just say here. So Scott Dixon led 27 laps. He did get the fastest lap award, so more points there. Started 7th, and this is his 40th career win. Can he reach 50 in 2020? I say yes.
Yeah.
Graham Rahal, who led 18 laps from 4th off the grid, finished 2nd, and that is his 29th career podium. Simon Pagenaud scored his 34th career podium, finishing 3rd, and started back in 20th.
Yeah, he was not fast. Yeah, qualifying, his car was not fast compared to usual. Yeah, I remember watching qualifying. I'm like, where's his speed? But he rebounded, which is a good thing. That he rebounded and getting a podium, which is really nice to get after starting in the back.
Yeah, looking down the list here, outside the podium, Colton Herta finished 4th after starting 3rd. 5th place, Dutch driver Rinus VK, career best finish after starting 18th. Well done.
After that, after Texas, which Ed Carpenter was not too happy about Texas. Well, he rebounded, which is a good thing. A 4th place finish, or wherever he got. 5th place finish, which is good.
6th. Led a lap and started 14th.
Yeah.
Joseph Newgarden, last year's champion.
Yep.
Led 4 laps, started 6th, finished 7th. Pato O'Ward, for the second time in his career, scored his best finish in an IndyCar after starting 13th. Santino Ferrucci, 9th, and Takuma Sato finished in 10th. Then looking down the list, Felix Rosenquist, 15th. Jack Harvey started 2nd, led a lap, finished 17th. Then 20th place was Will Power.
Oh, jeez.
Led 20 laps, so he has the most laps led. Extra points given to him there from the pole, but obviously a malfunction in pit road results 20th. Marco Andretti, 22nd, and Alexander Rossi retired after starting 11th.
So right now, there's only 14 races so far. There's 14 races right now in IndyCar. There are already 2 races gone. Next 2 races is race 3 and 4 at Road America. The thing about Rossi and Power, they're not having luck right now. They need to have good races to get into this title fight. Right now, the top 3, you have you have Dixon, Pagenaud, and Newgarden. They're just doing good. Wow. Power's the teammates of Pagenaud, Power sees his teammates doing good. He's back there. Same Rossi. He's also not having luck either this season. He had remember Power and I know that Power was not the best last year, but he still did better than currently running right now. Same as Rossi. Rossi was 3rd in the standings. He's currently last year and currently not performing.
23rd. That's very unlike him, but Road America, now you get 2 chances. That will be rounds 3 and 4 of the 14 race. So we'll talk about Road America later on the podcast, but obviously a lot of drivers dealing with very slow starts to their seasons. But yeah, it's Scott Dixon right now.
This is the points leader.
Points lead right now. 29 over Simon Pagenaud, 40 points over Joseph Newgarden.
Yep.
Colton Herta is minus 46 off the leader. Graham
Right.
Rahal minus 50. Zach Veach scores 50 points so far. Connor Daly, 46 points. Pato
Yep.
Award, 62 behind Dixon. Ryan Hunter-Ray, 63 behind the leader, and Marcus Ericsson's minus 64. So yeah, we'll get into Road America later on for those interested in hearing about our predictions. Obviously, we save that for later.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get briefly into sports car racing. Unfortunately, the only sports car race wasn't really an endurance race. It was just a sprint race to get back into the swing of things at Daytona for the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. It was the Daytona WeatherTech 240, 2 hours and 40 minutes long for race 2 of what is now an 11-race calendar.
Yep.
DPI, though, it was all Mazda as the number 55. Mazda led the teammate, number 77, into a 1-2 finish in the class. Third place was the number 5 JDC Mustang Sampling Cadillac. Fourth was the number 6 Penske Acura. Fifth place was the Action Express Wheelan Engineering number 31 Cadillac. Sixth place and DPI was the number 10 Wayne Taylor Racing Cadillac. Konica Minolta. Number 7 was the number 85 JDC Miller. And finishing last, actually retiring from the race, was the number 7 Acura Team Penske machine.
Yeah, with engine issues. Yeah, their engine caught on fire, which they were the only car that retired from that race. Everybody else finished. Not on the same lap, obviously, but people that don't know that, which driver was it? One of the Whalen drivers, who was it that got tested for COVID?
He had
so they showed up. Yeah, Gabby Chavez was the co-driver of that number 31 for people that don't remember about him being in the car.
Right. Yeah. Which was very unfortunate, and we wish them the best. As for the LMP2 class, they did sit out this one. They'll be back at Sebring in 2 weeks' time. Sebring that's a sprint race. We'll get into that in a little bit. GTLM had only 6 cars. The factory Corvette team scores their first victory in the new C8R.
Oh my!
Yes, finally, that was their first win in a while.
I did not expect Corvette to win. I thought it was BMW versus Porsche, but interesting. Good. That's good for Corvette number 3.
And they were great on pit road too. The driver changes were fluid. They got in and out pretty fast and managed the rain.
Yeah.
Managed the rain decently. The number 912 Porsche was my prediction. So I had Porsche winning the race. They finished second over teammate number 911 Porsche finished third. So the factory team gets second, third place finishes. BMW number 25.
That's my pick. I picked that 25 car.
Yeah, didn't they win the 24-hour race? Yes, they did.
Yeah.
They won back-to-back in that class. So, I mean, things are a little different in a sprint race, obviously.
Yeah.
Fifth place was the number 4 Corvette, and sixth place was the number 24 BMW.
Yeah.
As for the GT Daytona class, which consists of GT3 cars, Lexus finished first and second. The number 14 Aim Vassar Sullivan Lexus RCF GT3 finished over the number 12 Aim Vassar Sullivan Lexus. So really good run for them. And Townsend Bell, who was actually in the IndyCar commentary booth for NBC, literally flew back and forth like a good 3 times to race and commentate. That's cool.
Yeah.
Third place and fourth place was the 2 Heinricher Racing with Meyer Shank Racing Acura NSX GT3s, the 86 over the 57, and fifth place was the number 63 Scuderia Corsa Ferrari.
My pick didn't do too well. I had the 74 Riley Motorsports Mercedes, which not the best.
I think I went with the Shank Acura.
No, who?
Meyer-Shank Acura. I can't remember, but I'm a
No,
fan of the two Lexuses, so I'm glad they won.
No, you actually picked one of the Lexuses. I remember.
Oh, did I? I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I don't know which one you picked, but I remember you picked. I think you picked the 14.
The 14 did win the race, so they're going to
Yeah.
have the weekend off, and they'll be back for the Sebring Grand Prix, which is in 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, on July 18th. Yeah, July 18th.
Right. Standings are not released yet. I tried really hard to find them. I guess the
only thing on IMSA's website is literally there's nothing. I look and it says there's no points. I'm like, where's the points?
But I could assume with the results that Mazdas would jump up in the standings. Definitely JDC and Penske.
But they basically just have to fix some of the standings, because the thing about how endurance racing works, instead of just putting, it just says the car number.
Drivers get points too for when they show up.
Yeah, literally if you have the drivers like I remember there's some drivers that says example if the Wayne Taylor would have won the race, it would have said Ranger Van Andy won, and underneath Ryan Briscoe won first place, and then the other cars second, they would have it like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we don't know the standings.
In sports car racing, the car is the one that shines under the spotlight rather than the driver, because it's all a team effort. Well, we'll see what happens in 2 weeks' time. We'll get more into sports car racing when we preview some of the other events around the world.
Yeah,
it's going to be pretty good when we get into that. Now, I wanted to get into Formula One, but I kind of wanted to get all the other races out of the way, because we're going to be talking about Formula One for a little bit here.
Mm-hmm.
The Austrian Grand Prix was the kickoff race for round one of the 2020 World Championship. Currently, eight races on the calendar, with many pending or canceled, which is still yet to be confirmed by the FIA.
Yeah.
So the Austrian Grand Prix took place yesterday at the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg, which is also known as the Austerlitz Ring, or A1 Ring.
Yeah.
Long-lasting track. Well, let's get into the results. Valtteri Bottas scored career win number 8 from the pole, led every single lap, all 71 laps.
Yeah.
Over Charles Leclerc, who finished second. Leclerc started 7th for his 11th career podium. Third place was Lando Norris. Lando Norris got a podium.
Well,
I'm amused.
Well, that's all. You know what happened. If people didn't watch it, the race kind of crazy a little bit. It
was crazy.
And people retiring out of the race. A lot of retirements.
We'll get into the retirements later.
Yeah, but
as
just saying, there's a lot of retirements.
Sorry to cut you off there. Lando Norris, not only did he finish third, he got the fastest lap point to the championship right at the very end. And as for McLaren, this is their second podium since Australia 2014 with Jenson Button.
There's so many I don't know
words, man.
The thing about Austria, just everything. There were so many things which there's the thing about I've been looking through who's improved, who's lost. If people don't know, some teams lost some speed.
Yes,
some did. And if people think, oh, Williams, did they lose speed? No, they actually gained 7/10. The team that lost the most was Alfa Romeo. They lost, I think, a second. Ferrari, 9/10 over last year to this year. Haas lost only 6, but people are saying Racing Point, why did they put money in the car? I'm like, that's how you make the car go fast. You don't want a slow car. They gained 9.
The money, you pay for it. You go for it.
Yeah, they gained 9/10 of a second from last year. Williams gained an impressive 7/10, which They're better than last year. They're not
Slightly.
doing, yeah, like George Russell outqualified the Alphas and almost outqualified Kevin Magnussen in his Haas.
Right.
Latifi got last one reason. He's a rookie. He just has to learn these F1 cars.
Let's get down to the points finishers, though. We did cover the top three here. But in fourth place was Lewis Hamilton, who many, of course, thought would have a good shot to win the race. Lewis Hamilton physically finished second. He started second. Actually, had a grid penalty, which relegated him to fifth physically when the race started. But a time penalty brought him down to fourth, involving contact with
Alexander Albon.
We'll get into Albon in a little bit here. Carlos Sainz finished fifth. Started eighth. Then Sergio Perez got a time penalty. I think he finished fourth physically. Yeah,
but he got sixth because he sped in the pit lane. I think he did speed quite a lot.
Antonio Giovinazzi.
Yeah, that was not the brightest. You're supposed to go with the rightest speed. No, I think he won 10 miles per hour over the speed limit on pit road, which is kind of you don't want to do that with the the FIA is watching. You don't want to go. Well, it's not like Pastor Maldonado who went fast on purpose down pit road. Almost every race, he got a penalty of some sort, which was interesting. I'm sorry, Armani.
Yeah, I know. I guess he likes Maldonado for some reason. That's his choice. Let's see down the list. Pierre Gasly and the new Scuderia AlphaTauri Honda machine. It's rebranded. It used to be Toro Rosso. Gasly started 12th. Esteban Ocon in his first race since 2018, driving now in a Renault, finished in 8th. So good run for the French driver in his home team, essentially, for Renault. Antonio Giovinazzi, in another case, like he is Italian, driving for an Italian team. Alfa Romeo. Started 18th. His fifth career points finish. Well done for
even if that team, that Alfa Romeo, they lost more speed from last year, but still, when you lose that like a second slower than last year and still get ninth, that means you're pretty good at people thought Raikkonen was going to be running up there more than Giovinazzi, but Giovinazzi in every session was faster than Raikkonen by couple tenths of a second, which is just
he was kind of scrutinized for not catching up to Raikkonen last year. We'll get into that in a little bit. Sebastian Vettel, who had a pretty rough weekend, missed Q3, had a spin after trying to get to Sainz there. Finished 10th at the last point. Started 11th.
And there's only one last driver in the race, Nicholas Latifi, 11th.
Nicholas Latifi, the Canadian rookie. In his debut, finished 11th, started last at 20th. Now, here, these two drivers, they did not finish race, but they are considered classified as they reached 90% of the race distance. So 12th place was Danny Kvyat, and 13th place was Alex Albon. Now, let's get into Hamilton and Albon now.
The thing was, Albon was trying to pass on the outside. Hamilton was on, the bottom. The thing about Albon is that's kind of a blind corner. Lewis can't see you from that apex area. One thing about it, I knew this will know, you can't see. Out through that corner, you can't see anything. Remember when Lewis got that penalty for the yellow flags? You can't see through there. And side by side, it's kind of hard. And and also they touch wheels, which that's open wheel cars, and Albon spun to the gravel. But this was not compared to Brazil. Brazil was different.
Brazil was more of Hamilton's fault in this case.
But this one, they were side by side, and it's tight through there. Trying to go side by side through that section is really hard. It's not the easiest thing because help.
Yeah, let's see down the rest of the results. So here are the drivers who retired from the race, down from 14th on to 20th. We'll start with the first driver, Kimi Räikkönen, who started 19th, retired on lap 53 with a broken wheel. Whole suspension broke. on the
Yep.
restart, which took him out of contention. George Russell had a fuel pressure issue, which sent him out of the race on lap 49th. He started back at 17th. Roman Grosjean and Kevin Magnussen both retired. Grosjean ahead of Magnussen. Lap 49 with brake failure, and Magnussen lap 24 with a brake failure.
Yeah, like you saw, both Haas cars had brake failures. Remember Grosjean going in I think it's turn, is that 5? Or that turn, like, after I'm trying to remember. I don't know what corner that is. Like, literally the corner before.
He had no brakes. He literally had to just throw it into the gravel and hope for the best.
And in turn 3, remember Kevin Magnussen was battling, what's he battling with? He was battling with someone. Oh, Ocon.
Yes.
And remember, he had a brake failure braking for turn 3, and I'm like, whoa, I thought he just made a mistake, but no, his brakes failed, which didn't help anything.
Yeah, and let's see down the list. Lance Stroll, who started 9th, had an engine failure on lap 20. Daniel Ricciardo started 10th and had an overheating issue on lap 17. And Max Verstappen, who won the last 2 races at this track, started 2nd, shotgun to the pole sitter, and on lap 11 had his power unit fail.
Yeah.
And here's what the World Championship looks like. Let's start off with the World Drivers' Championship. Obviously, 26 points for winning.
25 for winning.
25, 26 if you're pole sitter, right?
No, that's for if you have the fastest lap.
Oh, yeah, 25. My bad. I don't know why I was thinking 26. And 18 points. You get for second. And
third is 15.
Yeah, but Lando Norris had the fastest lap, so that puts him up to one more point.
Yeah, 16 points, yeah. And then 12 for 4th place, which is Hamilton. He got 12. Then it's 10. 5th place gets 10 points. It's basically, yeah.
And then let me see down the list. 8 points for, or 10 points for Sainz. 8 points claimed now 6th place in the standings is Sergio Perez. Pierre Gasly is 7th with 6 points so far. 8th with 4 points is Esteban Ocon. 9th, 2 points is Antonio Giovinazzi. And 10th place is Sebastian Vettel with just 1 point. You finish 10th, you get just a point. Obviously,
everybody else. So Latifi through Verstappen has no points yet, but
let's go down to constructors.
Yeah, constructors. I saw Mercedes has 37 points because both their cars finished, and they were higher, 1st and 4th. Yeah, which is like people are saying Mercedes is not a contender this season. I don't know why. There's some people that say Mercedes is slow. I'm like, slow? I'm like just looking at like the constructors, like literally Mercedes is still number 1 like last year. Does you expect Mercedes to be fast? Because they put money in the right place, not for sponsorship like Red Bull does. Red Bull's not focusing on their cars, which is kind of an issue. When you start, like, it's kind of bad that your team starts focusing on sponsorships for other things than your F1 team. And people complain Mercedes so good. I'm like, they're putting money in the right place to put the car better. Don't put money where the car is not performing well.
Right. But I'm just saying right here. So we have Williams. They were close to getting a point in their first race.
Well, that would have been interesting.
But McLaren or no, they're actually second. That's cool. Like Ferrari is 3rd with 19 points.
Yeah.
Red Bull doesn't have a single point at all.
Oh, jeez.
Only 3 teams without points claimed from Austria, where Williams, Red Bull Racing, and Haas.
Yeah, because both Haas cars retired. One of the Williams retired. Both Red Bulls retired. Like Kvyat could have finished the race. Remember, Kvyat was in the top 10. He could have got points too, but somebody got in his right right rear tire, it cut the tire down with like 2 laps to go, and he had to retire because it was going up towards turn number 3 again. No, in turn 1, and that spun him out. And when I saw Latifi 11th, like, people said Latifi was going to be the first retirement. I'm like, yeah, ends up finishing 11th. Like, Latifi, people say he's crap already. I'm like, he's a rookie in an F1 car. The only thing he's done last year was testing and practice. He ran practice in some races. Other than that, he's not done good. Like, yeah, like that's why he's qualified 20th, which Latifi's just learning. Like Russell did good. Like Russell had good pace just until, what happened with his car. Like the thing about it, when I saw Russell outqualified both Alphas and almost outqualified Magnus, I'm like, wait, they had more speed than last year. Even in practice, they were fast compared to last year. Like, remember last year? Like, if you would look in the qualifying last year, they would be 19th or 20th. They were 19th and 20th, which last year, you know what happened.
And they had a very decent driver behind one of those cars in Robert Kubica.
Yeah, while Russell outqualified him in every race last year, which I'm like,
But he couldn't outqualify anyone else.
Yeah, he outqualified his teammate. Kubica never outqualified Russell. Russell always
at 1 point.
Yeah. Well, that race was just interesting at Germany. The German Grand Prix was like, raining, which both Alphas got time penalties of 30 seconds, which helped Robert Kubica get that 1 point for Williams last year. But I think after the first race at Austria, I think the drivers are learning. Like Mercedes, the thing is that Mercedes had to worry about. Remember, they had to stay off the curbs was one thing for all the Mercedes-powered cars. Remember that? Because the gearbox. They were nursing home gearboxes. And people were like, please retire. And they did not end up retiring. There was people on, people were so happy. People wanted Mercedes to fail. No, they
were close to having a terminal issue that race.
But people said, "Oh, Albon's going to do good here," and then Albon and then he had the issue with his car. People said Red Bull's not going to have a dual retirement. I'm like, are you sure? Because when one car has an issue. Like when Max had his issue, people were like, "Oh, Albon does not need to worry. They don't have." If one car has an issue,
there's a chance the other car will have a problem.
Yeah, both of them. Then both Haas also they had brake issues when Magnussen's brakes didn't work. I just realized right before the race weekend started, like before the race. Remember practice 1? Grosjean said he had no brakes. That could have carried over to Magnussen.
Interesting, very interesting.
Yeah, Haas said there's no.
About that.
Yeah, I remember. Grosjean said he was trying to push the brakes and the brakes were not working. That could have happened in the race. And I know the teams are going to try to make sure that no mechanical failures again. Like too many. Like there was only 11 that finished. Usually we see 3, 4 sometimes, 2, 1. No, we had 11 finish. The rest of the field were out.
Yeah. So we'll be talking about predictions later on when we talk about the F1 Styrian Grand Prix, which is obviously held in a different name at the same circuit due to restrictions to reach the 8 race mark. You have to get 8 races for a world championship to be considered as a season. Let's get into some Formula 2. I know we've had Formula 2 for Austria 1. Obviously, Austria 2 will be next week as well. Yeah. But Formula 2, if you're not familiar with Formula 2, they have a feature race and a sprint race.
Yep. Which the feature race is longer by a couple laps, obviously, and the sprint race is shorter.
More drivers can get points in the feature race compared to the sprint race.
What's the feature race? If you don't understand about, for F2, the feature race, to determine the starting lineup for feature race to qualify. For the sprint race, the top 8 are reversed. So whoever wins the feature race starts 8th in the sprint race, and whoever finishes 8th. So basically, the top 8 are reversed for the sprint race. While 9th through 22, because there's 11 teams this year in F2, whoever finishes 9th through 22nd starts 9th through 22nd in the sprint race.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's get into the feature race real quickly. As for the first race, Callum Ilott, British driver driving for Virtuosi Racing, UNI, had the fastest lap, and so basically he gets 2 extra points from there. Marcus Armstrong finished second. Marcus Armstrong is a New Zealand driver for ART Grand Prix.
His first start in F2. He ran Formula 3 last year.
Yeah,
really good for him.
Robert Schwartzman, the driver from Russia, Prima Racing, finishing third. Christian Longard, Danish driver for ART Grand Prix, fourth. Dan Ticktum, who we've seen a lot in the past, actually in other forms of open wheel racing, driving for Dom, is fifth. Giuliano Alessi, the son of Jean Alessi, F1 veteran, for BWT HWA Race Lab. Louis Delatraz, 7th. Started 11th, driving for Racing System. Felipe Drogovic, we'll talk about him in the sprint race. MP Motorsports ahead of teammate Noburahu Matsushita. And 9th in the Israeli driver, Roy Nissany for Trident. Finished 10th, scoring the last point. But there was another driver who got 4 points. China's Guanyu Zhu for UNI Virtuosi, the same team that Callum Ilott brought to victory. I guess he fell a lap short, but he got the pole. So 4 points to Guanyu Zhu. Now, the sprint race. Oh, go on, Justin.
I was saying about Guanyu Zhou, he had an issue in the race. He actually lost power. At one point, he was leading until he lost power.
What lap did he lose power?
It was actually past halfway, so he finished a lap down. He went to the pit lane. They fixed the issue, and he finished a lap down. Like, when I saw him slow, I'm like, oh no. But at least he got those points from storing the pole, which was good for him.
Yeah, and his teammate Callum Ilott had the fastest lap on lap 37. Now, the sprint race obviously is a little bit different. 8 drivers, the top 8 get points. Felipe Drugovic, Brazilian driver for MP Motorsport, scored the win.
He started on the pole because the top 8
started on pole and had the fastest lap.
The thing is, like, people don't understand, like, the top 10 still get points. It's just the opposite. It's like, like sometimes like it's a reverse grid. So basically, whoever finishes 8 in the sprint in the feature race starts on the pole. So basically, so Ilott, who won the feature race, started 8th because in the sprint race because he won. So basically, they reverse. They basically reverse the top 8. Other than that, they keep everybody else, like 9th through 22nd from the feature race, they start there in the sprint race.
Louis Delatraz finished 2nd. Dan Ticktum 3rd. Robert Schwartzman, Christian Longard, Nobuo Matsushita, Mick Schumacher, the son of legendary Michael Schumacher, Jack Aitken were the points finishers in that race. And the standings look like this. So the Drivers' Championship right now, Callum Ilott is in the points lead over Robert Schwartzman with 4 points behind. 23 points claimed so far in second. Felipe Drugovic is third with 21 points. Dan Ticktum fourth with 20, and Louis Delatraz, the Swiss driver, is fifth with 18 points. In fact, he's tied with Marcus Armstrong and Christian Longard.
Also, this is the thing about people wondering. People thought there was actually people that thought MP Motorsports was actually a bad team. I'm like, no. Last year, King did good. Raghunathan was not good. If people don't remember him, he was.
I talked a lot about Raghunathan last year.
Yeah, because he was not. He finished like NP Motorsports have two good drivers this year, which is good. While last year they had Jordan King doing good, Ragunathan got 1 point and finished 20th. Even Pat O'Ward, who drove the car when he got banned for one race for getting 12 penalty points in only, I think, 5 races, which is kind of embarrassing. The thing, like, Pat O'Ward did better in one round than Ragunathan ran 11 rounds, and he still did worse at the end of the season as the beginning.
And he passed the checkered flag twice in that one race, which caused him to lose license points. That was beyond me, but it was entertaining.
Yeah, and also another thing that was funny when he got lapped in the sprint race at Bahrain, which is embarrassing. The shorter race he gets lapped because I think he stalled it, or Monaco when he cut the corner
like a video game.
I don't even know how nobody know. The FIA just noticed after the race. I don't know how you don't notice a car there. Like, I'm like, oh my goodness. So yeah, that's why. Yeah, it was a really interesting races at
Austria. Yeah, they'll be back for Austria too. Which will be their week 2. Formula 3 had their race. As for F3, I'll just tell you who won. For the 2020 FIA Formula 3 Championship, they have a sprint race and a sprint race. So, we had an Australian win the first one, Oscar Piastri for Prema Racing, and the second race was won by Liam Lawson, who is from New Zealand, driving for High Tech Grand Prix, and they'll be back next week as well. And with that, let's go into some other racing that we've seen in this in this past weekend. I'm losing my breath here. ARCA raced at IRP for round 5 of their 16 race score. Chandler Smith led 162 laps.
Jeez. Another win for him. 9th win in 23 starts, which people say that's not impressive, but like his average start, I think, is 1.5 this season. When you can get an average start of 1.5 this season, it's kind of impressive.
Yeah. Like Sam Mayer finished second, Haley Digg in third, Taylor Gray, the younger brother of Tanner Gray, who's only 15 years of age, driving for the same car in the same team as his brother did earlier this year. Chad Moffitt, teammate to the two drivers ahead of him. So, third, fourth, fifth, not a bad finish for DJR Crosley. Unfortunately, the driver who retired in 15th place was Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs led 38 laps. So the standings look like this after 5 races. Michael Self has an 11-point lead over Haley Deegan. Drew Dollar, who retired from the last race, is
retired. He finished a couple laps down.
Oh, he didn't retire. He was still out there. I forgot.
Yeah. But there was not many cars in the race that finished.
That is true.
There was,
he's got 187 points, so that's like 19 points off the lead here. And further back is Brett Holmes in 4th. 5th place is Chad Moffitt. Next race will be Kentucky for round 6 this weekend. It'll be 150 miles. So, we got Joe Semeniego. How's it going, Joe? All good here, staying busy. With ARCA, how do you feel the series is financially? It was a pretty small purse for the winner. Well, I think it's just for 2020. I mean, many teams that plan to race are unable to do so or had to shut down because of the pandemic.
One of them was KBR Development, the 2018. Remember, they started last year. Remember that 28 car, Joseph? They started last year with Rafael Lassard and Carson Hosmar and all those drivers with the number 50, the 19 entry. They renumbered the 28. They had Brendan McReynolds also drive in that car at Daytona last year, like Red Jones Racing. They can't even remember.
Both their drivers from Canada, they still have issues getting down the border.
Yeah, also
Dominique and Tristan Van Bergen.
Yeah, the 30 was supposed to enter the Toledo race for ARCA East. Tristan did not enter because there's some teams that can't enter now, like Our Motorsports. They were supposed to enter Talladega. They did not. They're They're so far focusing on their
Xfinity program, which is doing very well so far. It's amazing that they're persevering through all these obstacles being thrown at you.
Yeah, there's only been 3 drivers. I realized that, like, I guess that Andy Seiss was supposed to race at one point. I don't know if he will now.
Right. I mean, I could ask Ronnie Osborne. Ronnie, if you're watching, I don't know if he's in. He watches our content a lot. We've had him on earlier with us. He's actually part of their program now, so get a little bit of info.
I know the only drivers we've seen this season. We've seen Brett Moffitt for most races. Bristol was ran by Patrick Emmerling, and Homestead Race 2, it was not Moffitt. It was Judd Jr. Avila in the O2. We've only had 3 drivers in that O2, and Moffitt's running the O2 again for Kentucky, both races on Thursday and Friday.
That veteran experience is really kicking in.
Yep.
All right, so speaking of ARCA, we also had the ARCA West Series race. That was the Irwindale 150 for their 4th race, round 4 out of 9 so far. Jesse Love led 119 laps. Boy, this is 15, and he's dominant.
Yeah.
Trevor Huddleston finished 2nd after leading just 6 laps. Gracie Trotter 3rd. Blaine Perkins 4th. Devin Dodson finished 5th. Standings look like this. Jesse Love pulling away. He's got 182 points over Blaine Perkins with 164 points. Gracie Trotter is 5th with 155 points. Trevor Huddleston is 4th with 152 points. And Todd Souza, the 55-year-old veteran, has 149 points and 5th. So they'll be at Evergreen on August 8th for race 5. They got a whole month.
So 2 months. No, 2 months from now is July. I thought we were June today. I don't even know why. On my computer it says 0706. I thought we're June. I forgot we're in July now. So yeah, in a month from now they'll be racing again. Well, that means in only a couple weeks, starting this Saturday, so 2 weeks from Saturday, July 11, on July 25th, we know ARCA East will be back since June on July 25th, which is 2 Saturdays. It will be 2 Saturdays from now.
The main ARCA series will continue on, obviously, this weekend for the bigger tracks. And the good thing about ARCA, in 2020 is that you're able to use the same car, whether you race for the main championship or you go east or you go west. ARCA racing is really more accessible than ever.
Yeah, and if people don't know, remember that race at Phoenix, Joseph? Remember the drivers that had the same number?
Yeah, you just put a lever, E or W.
Yeah, except they ran, there was some ARCA East drivers in the main ARCA race. They did not need to do that. The one of Max McLaughlin. There's no other one. There's 01, but they didn't enter that race. So same with Kyle Sieg in the 42, which that's the East team. Bruce Cook, which Parker Retzlaff drives in the ARCA East. So basically it's the same thing with Phoenix. When they raced, which was race 2, quite a while ago, they did this while, there was 217s, the DGR car. So the team Steve McGowan, who owns that other 17, they had a W. It's some of the Bill McAnally cars had to put...
Bill McAnally, they're from West.
And, there's the 6 of...
Nick Sanchez.
They did not have to put a letter because...
Right, only if another driver had another car.
But Chase Cabry had to. Deegan drives a 4, so he had to put a letter E next to the number 4 because 2 number 4s.
Let me just see the main ARCA schedule heading into the future of this racing reference. Okay, so Kentucky, Iowa, they're racing consecutive weekends. And some of the races on their schedule is pending due to where the NASCAR Cup Series goes, obviously, as a side race, or not a side race, but a supporting race.
Yeah, because
Kentucky, Iowa, I think Iowa's staying. Yeah, Iowa's going to stand.
Yeah.
Kansas, Gateway, Madison, they're all consecutive, depending on
what goes on. Because remember, if the All-Star race would have been at Charlotte, this Kentucky race would not be on the schedule because the ARCA East race would have been at Charlotte the Wednesday, the same day as the All-Star race, but Bristol has the All-Star race now because people think it's a stupid idea, but the thing
Cases
is,
are too much in.
in North Carolina, it's rising compared to when NASCAR was there in May. That's why ARCA's moved to Kentucky, which people say it's a bad idea. The thing about it, there's some tracks that are bad for NASCAR, like the Cup Series, but ARCA's decent at Kentucky. Like, I've seen ARCA finishes at Kentucky are interesting. 2017 was an interesting race. Remember 2017 Kentucky, Joseph, where Austin Terrio won? That was before his championship win. No, he didn't win he won the championship that year, but not the race. He retired at Kansas because blown tire, but he won Kentucky, which was before, which I remember that Kentucky race very well for Sargent getting in the wall and Ian being mad about Con Nicolopoulos. Oh,
he was doing laps on the apron.
Oh yeah, the taxi. Taxi.
Yeah, the taxi. That was kind of funny. But you gotta give him credit for being out there.
Well, in 2018 was memorable. Well, remember in 2018 at Kansas about Kevin Hinkle got into remember Kevin Hinkle getting into in the 68 car getting into the leader Sheldon Creed. I'm like, oh my gosh. I just remember.
Yeah,
Kevin. Yeah.
That was. I mean, you can make fun of them all you want, but they're still on the racetrack driving race cars. So there's that. Let's go ahead and I think we've had everything. Oh, one more race we haven't talked about yet was the Whelen Modified Tour for the White Mountain, New Hampshire race. First ever time they raced at White Mountain. For round 2 of 10, Justin Bunsinger won the race. Led 7 laps over Matt Hirschman, who led 193 laps. That sounds great. Lead all those laps and finished second. Doug Kobe third, Tommy Catalano fourth, and Woody Pickett fifth. As for the standings, Justin Bunsinger has an 11-point lead over Matt Hirschman. Doug Kobe is third with 78 points, tied with Craig Lutz, and John McKennedy is fifth in the standings with 76 points. Their next race is not until another month and a day, August 7th. Yeah, Stafford Springs, Connecticut for round 3.
What's the thing about the modifieds, which is interesting? People think, Bonsinger did not win both races. Yes, he did win both opening races, which is like, I remember last year Doug Kobe drove car number 2, which he's not driving for that team anymore. He's driving for Philip Morin's number 10, which he's decent right now. He's not running garbage. He's not doing.
No, and you have to understand there's a lot of competitive drivers in modified series. We have grids that exceed 30 cars at short tracks. Now,
there was
something to consider.
Yeah, and so some drivers are still there's some rookie drivers in there, some returning, like Sam Ramo, who was a rookie last year. He's still in his number 06 car.
Right, a lot of these drivers, are from the grassroots regions. They put these cars together. They're hands-on, so I give them credit. All right, I think let's get into this upcoming race week. We have a lot of action going on here. The NASCAR Cup Series will be racing at Kentucky for the Quaker State 400, round 17. The Xfinity Series will be racing Kentucky for rounds 14 and 15. The Truck Series return for the Kentucky 225, round 7. IndyCar will be racing at the Road America Grand Prix, rounds 3 and 4 of their 14-race calendar. F1 will be racing the Styrian Grand Prix at the same Red Bull Ring in Austria. F2 will be racing again.
F3 also.
F3 and Porsche Super Cup will be there as well.
ARCA racing at Kentucky again also.
As for sports cars, we got 2 VLN races, or now also known as the NLS series, rounds 2 and 3. They're both 4-hour races, so go check that out. And the 24H series returns for the 12 hours of Monza for round 3 of their 6-race championship. And the entry list is much bigger than
Then 15 cars.
50 cars at Portimao. But still, I think I gotta find that entry list somewhere when we get into that. All right, so the Cup Series at Kentucky, race 17. Kurt Busch won last year over his brother
Chevrolet.
Kyle,
which was the first for Chevrolet. Chevy's first win at Kentucky. Other than that was Toyota, one for Dodge, and Ford. It was basically Ford, Toyota. Dodge had one win.
Let's see. Kyle Busch won the inaugural race back in 2011. I forgot to mention that. Yeah, he beat the driver who has 2 wins there. Brad Keselowski has 3 wins. Or Kyle Jr. Teams, Joe Gibbs Racing and Team Penske, probably the 2 best teams of the year, aside for Stuart Haas and Kevin Harvick, just leading the 4-pack. And Furniture Row Racing, of course, they have 2 wins there. Stuart Haas Racing, I don't think they have a win at all at this track.
No. Remember, Joseph, Harvick's never won here.
No, he hasn't.
Chevy's only won once, which was the only. Yeah, Ford has only won. The last time Ford won.
Toyota has the most wins at 5.
Yeah, Ford behind, and then it's Dodge with 1, which Dodge not racing. No, Dodge is not coming back, guys.
They won the last time they came to Kentucky in 2012. Keselowski went on to win the championship.
Yeah, it's basically Ford or Toyota until Kurt Busch and a Chevy winning, which when I saw Kurt Busch win, I'm like, wow, Chevy actually won at Kentucky.
Imagine the 2 best brothers in racing fighting for the win. That'd be like Michael and Ralph Schumacher in Formula 1 battling for a win. Or even like something in the likes of I forgot what I was going to say. I was watching Race Hub. They're just showing the incident at Indy. Wow.
The
pit road incident. So I think let's get into the picks here. Sorry.
Okay. One thing. Okay, my pick. This driver, he drives. He's a good driver. A thing about this driver. He knows how to win a race. He's been close. No, he's already won races before. I mean, this driver. He last ran full time a couple of years ago. This driver drives the number 42 Chevrolet. Matt Kenseth wins 7 years after his win in 2013.
I was 14 when he won that race. That was a season. It was his first year back. It was in a new first time he ever drove a new team. Now he's in that position again. But I'm gonna go a different route. He won last year. He's gonna win this year. Kurt Busch.
Okay. Ganassi.
Once again, Chip Ganassi Racing might be stronger than we all thought. Okay.
Remember, Xfinity has 2 races, so
around 14.
Yeah, the only difference is Jeb Burns racing Thursday, Hemrick is racing on Friday. That's the only difference. So Jeb Burns in the car Thursday's race, and Friday's race will be Hemrick in the 8 car.
Also, it's 200 miles Thursday, 300 miles Friday.
Yeah.
So Cole Custer won the race last year. Kevin Harvick won the inaugural race back in 2001 en route to his first of 2 championships. Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, and Joey Logano all hold the record for most victories at this track with 3. Ryan Blaney, Austin Dillon, and Kevin Harvick share 2 wins apiece. And I'll give you some fun facts. Ryan Blaney, Austin Dillon, and Joey Logano all scored their first career wins at that track.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Very impressive. And as for teams, for the summer race, Joe Gibbs Racing leads with 6, Team Penske with 3, and Richard Childress Racing with 2. In the summer race, for manufacturers, Chevy, Toyota, and Ford are all tied with 6 wins each, 6, 6, 6. And Dodge with the lone win back with Keselowski in 2011. obviously, I don't think any of those drivers I mentioned are going to be in that race.
No, because there's no Cup drivers, and because there's no Penske 12. The 54 is not racing for Gibbs. There's no other Penske car. There's only one Penske entry, which is Cindric. The only driver, hey, if if Brad Keselowski wants to drive the 36 car if he wants, but I don't think he wants to drive for Mario Goslin. I don't think. I don't think he wants to drive for that. I don't think he wants to drive a. Yeah, because their cars are not going to win.
All right,
obviously.
let's go ahead and just pick. I'm gonna go with a driver. He's just so strong. Chase Briscoe's winning another 6th of the year.
Which one?
And, for race 1, yeah, I forgot.
Yeah,
this is for race 1.
Yeah. Okay, my pick for race 1. This driver. He's driving for a good team right now. He's a rookie, but not running full time. Anthony Alfredo is going to win on Thursday night in the number 21 car.
Wow. All right, so Friday, race 2 at Kentucky. My pick will be this driver. He's going to finally win in the Xfinity Series.
I think I know who. I knew it was. Okay.
I guess sitting out on Thursday is going to help you win on Friday. I don't know.
Okay. My pick for Friday's race. This driver. He drives for Junior Motorsports. He's been decent this year, but there's some races where he couldn't finish. He's running really good, but inconsistent at times. This driver, he may have raced. He did race yesterday in replacing Jimmy Johnson, the breaker. Justin Allgaier is going to win at Kentucky on Friday night.
I see that.
Yeah.
All right. So those are good predictions. Now the Truck Series for round 7. That's a Kentucky race. That's 225 miles. Tyler Ankrum won the race last year. It was his first career win. He drove back when DGR Crosley Racing.
Yeah,
Greg Biffle won the inaugural race back in 2000. As for multiple winners, Ron Hornaday Jr. leads that list with 3 over Kyle Busch and James Buescher with 2 wins. Most team victories go to Kyle Busch Motorsports with 4. Kevin Harvick Incorporated with 3. And ThorSport Racing, Bill Davis Racing, and Roush Fenway Racing all share 2 victories apiece. As for most make wins, Toyota with 9, Chevy with 8, 3 for Ford, and 2 for Dodge.
This is And one thing that people say, probably people are going to say Kyle Busch, but he's not in the race for one. It's a rookie driver.
I know where you're going with this.
Oh yeah, my pick. This driver, he is a rookie, but he is a rookie. But the thing about him, he's never ran 1.5 miles yet. He's driven on the short tracks last year, which if you don't know who it is, you should. If you don't know his stats, which I memorized his stats, I don't know how. This guy over last season, 3 top 5s and 4 top 10s and 4 starts. He is impressive. If you don't know, if you should know who it. And my pick, Chandler Smith in truck number 51, his first 1.5 mile start, which the thing he is gonna learn from the track, because one other thing that's good for him, he's racing the ARCA race right before. So yeah. Yeah, that's gonna help him.
All right. So with that said, this driver has last won at this circuit. Very good 1.5 miles. His only 2 wins have appeared on the 1.5 mile tracks. And last time this driver won, he's in a Ford, was back at this circuit in 2018. Ben Rhodes will win.
Oh,
he's actually a hometown driver, not too far away from Sparta.
Yeah, he's from Louisville, Kentucky. I was about to say, I'm like, who? I forgot that Ben Rhodes won there 2 years ago. I forgot that Ben Rhodes won 2 years ago. I just forgot about it. I just realized if Ben Rhodes wins, it'll be the actual second driver full time to actually be locked in because it's the only one we've had on the list of winners locked in so far. It's just been Enfinger with 2 wins. Everybody else looking for a win. Yeah, it's gonna
All
be an
right,
interesting race.
let's get into Formula One here.
Oh,
Um, so yeah, the Styria Grand Prix is this weekend for race 2, which is obviously the same track as the Austrian Grand Prix. So yeah, this year was obviously Valtteri Bottas, and last year Max Verstappen. It's an inaugural race, so I don't have much stats to go about. But who's going to win round 2 of the 2020 F1 calendar?
hmm. It's kind of hard because round one was so round one was kind of a the problem about knowing who's gonna win is like round one. There was many cars should have finished up there, but they retired out of the race. Okay, okay, my pick. Okay, my pick. This driver drives for one of the best teams. This driver that I'm gonna pick. This driver's not in the. He's in the good equipment, but he's not in the fastest equipment. So it's not Mercedes this time I'm picking. This driver, he's never won an F1. He's never got a podium either. He could have won. He could have been on the podium last race. Alexander Albon for Red Bull Racing. They're going to rebound from their dual retirement.
All right. He was close last week, but ran into some trouble that resulted in a time penalty. He wanted this track before, not without controversy. But he's obviously probably, if not the biggest threat, one of the greatest threats to win the championship this year, Lewis Hamilton.
I knew. I'm like,
it's hard not to describe him without saying his name.
I thought you were gonna say about Leclerc. I'm like, no, I don't think
Leclerc. I wish.
Ferrari is slow. If you've never noticed how slow Ferrari is, they're slower. They're like 9/10 off from last year. When they're almost a second off your pace from last year, that means something went wrong. But do you know what's kind of funny, which I actually learned during I guess Haas upgrade their brakes. That's why they're not working right. I guess Haas does better when their cars, like when when Haas's car is downgraded, they work. The car is better downgraded. When they upgrade the car gets worse. It's kind of bad when your car gets worse by upgrading. So basically, he has, yeah. Grosjean said the brakes wouldn't work because they upgraded the brakes, but they wouldn't work well. That's why Haas's cars retired last race. So hopefully at Austria, some of those teams' mechanical issues happen less. I don't want to see someone's wheel like Raikkonen's wheel rolling. When I saw it when he hit the curb and went up, I'm like, okay, that's not good. And you see his wheel literally say, bye, I'm leaving. That was kind of embarrassing.
Yeah. Danny's here. How's it going, Danny?
Hello, guys. Hello, everyone. Sorry I'm a little bit late.
Yeah. We were actually getting to race predictions. But you're here. How about we backtrack a little bit and talk about your predictions for the Cup Series? Actually, no. What's your prediction for this weekend's F1 race at Austria? For the Styria Grand Prix.
So, I think it's Mercedes AMG again. They've really been strong out the gate with Valtteri Bottas. So I'm gonna say Lewis Hamilton, even though he had that 5-second penalty and that first race. So I think he could get it done and redeem himself again.
Yeah.
All right. So with that said, what are your predictions for the NASCAR Cup Series, the 2 Xfinity races, and truck race at Kentucky?
I think Truex Jr. can get another win in Kentucky. He's been very, very strong at that track. And as for Xfinity, I think Allgaier. No, not
2
Allgaier.
races for Xfinity.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is 2 races. So I'm gonna go with Michael Annette, and which is a long shot. I'm pretty good. And I'm gonna pick Gregson. Gregson, definitely Gregson to win the second race, and Michael Annette to win the first. I know Michael Annette will be a long shot, but I think he could get the job done.
That would be a very very uh, miraculous win if he does. Uh, let's so we already covered Formula One, sports car racing. Actually, yeah, let's get to IndyCar first, and then we'll talk about sports car racing, and then about what we saw this week. There's a lot of off track um, stuff to talk about right now.
Okay.
But let's get into IndyCar. So the Road America Grand Prix will be this weekend for rounds 3 and 4 of 14. Alexander Rossi won the race last year. The first race was in 1982, won by Hector Rabacqua. And as for the drivers with the most victories, it's a 3-way tie between Mario Andretti, Michael Andretti, and Emerson Fittipaldi. And Paul Tracy, Bruno Junqueira, and Jacques Villeneuve have 2 wins each. As for teams, Newman Haas Racing with 10 wins. Obviously, the whole team owned by Paul Newman and Carl Haas. Team Penske has 5 wins, along with Team Green and Andretti Autosport. They're the same team. Forsyth Racing and Chip Ganassi Racing share 3 wins, and Patrick Racing has 2 wins at the track. So for race 1, do you guys have any predictions on that?
Okay. My pick for race 1. This driver. He drives for Chip Ganassi, but it's not the driver you think. This driver was a rookie last year. He's doing decent, and this driver, it's his first year driving for this team. Marcus Ericsson in car number 8.
Marcus Ericsson is a very decent pick. This is a track that would very, very well suit him. But I'm going to go with a veteran here. He's going to make 3 for 3. Scott Dixon.
Yes. Finally, you can agree with me, Joseph? So yeah. I'm gonna also go with Scott Dixon, but my heart is telling me, I'm gonna stick with Scott Dixon. I nearly said Simon Pagenaud a minute ago.
This is a good track for Pagenaud. There has not been a repeat winner at this track since Bruno Junqueira back in 2003. So I think we've seen a trend with different winners. But there is another race 2 at Road America. Who will win that one?
I'm gonna go with the Penske driver. I'm gonna say Will Power. Race 2.
Okay. My pick for race number 2. This driver, he knows how to win. He's already won at Road America before. He's won races before. And this driver has, if nobody knows, this driver has 2 titles to his name right now. And his recent one came just last year. Joseph Newgarden will win race 2 at Road America.
All right. So if I had Scott Dixon win race 1, I'm gonna go with Felix Rosenqvist for race 2 and have a Ganassi sweep. So that would actually move Ganassi up to the 5 winners club, which is obviously with Team Penske and Team Green / Andretti Autosport. All right, so I think we have that covered. Now let's talk about sports car racing. This weekend we have the VLN 2 and 3, also known as now called the NLS, at the Nürburgring. Dual 4-hour races, one on Saturday and the other on Sunday. And also this weekend we have the 12 hours of Monza for race 3 of the 2020 24H series. Great to see sports back in Italy, of course, after that that the virus hit them really hard. It was probably like the hardest the virus hit outside of China just before the pandemic started. They had to shut down many things in February,
Yeah.
long before everyone else did. But nice to see them reopen and have that race at Monza. It's one of my favorite tracks. Like, I can't wait to see it. But as for the overall win, I'm gonna go with predictions. I have the entry list in the private chat there. So when you guys look at the cars in the GT3 class, my predictions there. This team won last week, or not last race, many weeks ago at Portimao. Herbert Motorsport Porsche, number 92. Win.
Okay.
Yeah, drivers Alfred Renauer, Jürgen Hiring, and Taki Constantino.
Okay. My pick. This team. This team is a German-based team. My pick is the number 91 Herbert Motorsports Porsche, driven by Daniel Allman, Ralph Bunn, and Robert Renauer.
That's good. I think Danny's off at the
Yeah,
moment.
he's on. Oh,
So we're getting into sports car racing right now. But
You were saying?
we're talking about the 24H series and Monza.
I'm not too sure. So I'm really gonna skip my prediction for that race.
All right.
I don't really follow the series like that.
Oh, that's fine. So that is this weekend. And then the 2 VLN races are on the weekend. I'm trying to find an entry list. I can't find that either.
oh,
Yeah.
we don't know.
All right. But it's a good site. If there are hundreds of entries showing
Yeah.
up to the first
Good.
VLN race, then that tells me we're going to have a 24 hours of Nürburgring,
Yeah.
which is scheduled for September. So the entry lists are good. You know, we're not in a crisis demanding teams to show up. If you show up, I'll pay you. We're not in that phase here.
Right.
No. Yeah.
Well, most of the teams are domestic anyways.
Yeah.
So with that said, let's get into an incident. Or not an incident, but more like a storyline that happened when most of you guys woke up. You woke up to this. This tweet by President Trump.
Yes.
He stated that Bubba Wallace should thank the drivers and basically thank the people that stood by him while at Talladega, even when it turned out to be some hoax. And I don't want to get involved with this. I don't think it's a comfortable subject because we're here to talk about racing.
Yeah.
But all in all,
Yeah.
I just say one of many tweets that the president has put out there that has rubbed people the wrong way.
Yeah, and people say it's not a real tweet. People are saying it's fake. I looked on his Twitter. One, I could tell it's real. Do you know what reason I could tell? The account is verified, and you can't have the same, like the @ you can't have the same one. So nobody can copy that, and the account's verified, so it's obvious it's real. And people say, no, somebody hacked into his account. I'm like,
No.
who would hack into the account? That's my question. I don't know.
There was
Yeah.
a driver, Tyler Reddick, who did go out and show his disapproval. That tweet was removed, I think.
Richard Childress told him
Childress
to.
was behind that.
Oh,
But there was more to come. I think, honestly, there should have been a little more education.
yeah.
For a tweet like that.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. I'm just glad we have sports to discuss this weekend.
Yeah. Thank
because
God. And as for Richard Childress, man, I don't know, man. I don't know about you.
Like, it's just like tweeting out, like,
You're just gonna let something happen just because.
yeah. because
you see injustice or whatever.
yeah,
I know this is not the place to talk about it.
yeah,
When you see injustice, Richard Judges, you stay silent. It's like, why?
like it's just some people just have to like. It's just there's some people that should not have social medias. I mean,
Yeah.
Here's the
like
thing:
there's people that are
people run politics. They're in that position, and whether they take advantage of it or not, it's up to them. Let's just move on to the
yeah.
next subject here. This is unfortunately another. This came out just a few hours ago
Oh yeah,
in
yep,
Australia. Speaking of government-related issues, the Victorian government has suddenly placed a restriction against outside travel, and there are 5 teams from the Supercar series that are affected greatly by this new order. Team 18, Tickford Racing, Yerbis Motorsport, Kelly Racing, and Walkinshaw and Andretti United were all affected by this order. Their next race is at Sydney once again.
yep.
Not this weekend, but the next weekend.
July 18th to 19th that weekend.
And apparently, there are other teams and people that are going out of the way to help them relocate so they can stay afloat.
Yeah.
And apparently, those teams are expected to relocate to New South Wales, where obviously Sydney is located. Also, Alessandro Zanardi, that is.
Yeah.
Alex Zanardi, who has been in the hospital,
Yep.
really fighting for his life after a terrible road bike accident in Italy that took place, and the recent report came out. I think it was
Yeah, I saw it. Mm-hmm.
facial reconstruction surgery. It was a 5-hour procedure that took place today, and there are more updates that are coming out. Obviously, once we get them, we'll report them. You'll see on Twitter. Just hoping for the best. That's not just one of the greatest race car drivers in the world. That is one of the greatest people in the world. He's an example of what
never giving up.
Yeah, exactly. What never giving up looks like. And let's see what else we have here. Unfortunately, the pandemic has claimed another team for now. They might be back, but R Motorsport has pulled the plug on GT3 and GT4 Aston Martin racing programs. So there's that. Let's see what else we've had here. Only ACO members. So now Le Mans will stay in sports car racing for a moment. Only ACO members and ticket holders are allowed to attend Le Mans 24 hours. So ticket sales are closed. That race is slated for September 20th. Felipe Nasr was unable to race at Daytona
because he tested positive. So Gabby Chavez was the relief driver for the number 31, and not just him. Jimmy Johnson, driving the number 48. He tested positive, which is a big, like, when I heard about it, I'm like, I was shocked when I heard the news. And people have to check their sources, but I'm glad I checked my source because I made sure it was Adam Stern. That's what I saw. It's not Adam Slurn, that fake account.
No, not the fake account. I was fooled by that fake account before I blocked it.
Yeah, but when I saw it, I'm like, oh my goodness. I was so shocked at hearing the news.
Was surprised, but if there's any driver who is fit, there's no one better than Jimmy Johnson. He's asymptomatic and is active on social media, which is always a good sign. So it's not like he's hiding and we have to hope for the best. No, he's out there communicating to the world about his situation.
Yeah, that's
Unfortunately, we did have sad news. Broadcaster Hugh Downs died at the age of 99, and also Dr. Rose Mattioli, the matriarch of Pocono Raceway, passed away at the age of 92.
yep.
Yeah,
Heard
that
about
actually happened just a few days after the Pocono race concluded.
But yeah,
As for NASCAR, the All-Star rules are revealed for
yeah,
next week. It's going to be on Wednesday night at Bristol Motor Speedway. The rules include a choose cone rule, which basically determines what row you're in and what lane you select. Basically, the preference of lane is up to you, regardless of what row you're in. That's going to be fun. Just an experiment. Obviously, the numbers being put on the side, or not in the center, but just behind them.
This should be very fun.
Segment rules. It's going to be a fun night.
This is gonna be a fun night. And can you tell everybody how are you eligible to be in the All-Star race?
If you win, if you're a former winner, and that's pretty much it. And if you get in through the open,
and or if you're a champion of the series.
Oh, that too. That's good. All right.
Yeah, so that's people are wondering how Justin Haley's in. You don't remember
last year, you win this year. You're a former winner. You're a champion. You're in.
If you don't remember, that Daytona race last year.
A year ago today.
No, tomorrow, July 7th. It was on Sunday. Remember, Joseph, was put to Sunday, which was July 7th. And do you know what's funny about that? July 7th was Sunday. It was so funny. Do you know what's kind of ironic about that on July? Wait. It was, people said, like, that podcast last year, it said number 77 on 7-7, July 7th.
Oh, you want to know a conspiracy?
Well, Clint Boyer finishing 7th.
I was just about to
July
say
7th, July 7th, 2007, because it's 07, 07. Boyer finished 7th, driving the 07 car. Like, that's really ironic. Like, you literally see the date is July 7th, 2007, which is 07. Clint Boyer finishing 7th in the 07 car. That's like, wow. Like, when I heard about it, I'm like, okay, that's really
It is a scary thought to think about it first,
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, being July 7, 2007, Boyer in the 07 finishes 7th. That's really odd.
Yeah. If you follow Rally, and I'm to blame, I should keep track of, as far as the World Rally Championship, the FIA WRC is concerned, they're actually set to continue the season at Estonia weekend of 4-6 September.
Okay.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Supercar will return to Sydney on July 18th, 19th with fans. As a choose code rule, I think it's the top 10. I have to double check on that.
Yeah, I know.
I think we have everything set. Actually, this weekend will be another on-field race weekend.
Also, people, for the races to tune in, NBCSN won't air Kentucky. No, FS1 will air Kentucky. So check out all the races on FS1. Check out IndyCar on Saturday on NBCSN. Check out the Sunday race on NBC. Check out the ARCA race on FS1. Check out F1 on ESPN. Check out all the races and basically check the races out and
just have a good time, you know.
Yep.
Put the politics aside and enjoy some racing. That's what I'm
Yeah.
Because at this point, what's off the track doesn't really mean too much anymore because we have a lot of stuff going on the track. And speaking of which, I forgot to mention Nick DeVries. Congratulations. Welcome to the Toyota team. He is going to race as a test driver for the Toyota Gazoo Racing. The reigning Formula 2 champion, obviously spending time in Formula E and endurance racing, driving LMP2 cars. Has a bright future ahead in sports car racing. So I think that's a good wrap up for now. I got final exams. I need to get out of here. Thank you guys for watching. For my partners, Justin Hebert, and thanks for coming, Daniel Ford. I'm Joe Laney Pavlon. We'll see you next week